Well, good morning to you and a very warm welcome back to another week on my plot. I haven't posted a video for 3 weeks. Life just conspired, and if you're a regular you'll know that we had a week away in the caravan down in the New Forest, very close to where my parents live, for my 60th birthday. So it's official, I am now old. And I feel great. We had a wonderful week, really good. I think probably one of the best weeks we've ever had away in the caravan. A couple of reasons. One, the weather wasn't actually as bad as forecast. The Saturday of the coronation, it absolutely dropped down. I think it rained for the whole day, and it wasn't just rain, it was really heavy. Luckily it wasn't that bad in London. But after that we had a few little showers here and there, but we also had some sunny days, and the New Forest is a spectacular place. It's definitely one of our 2 favourite places. We like the New Forest and Dartmoor. So yeah, we had a wonderful week. My eldest son and his family and Charlotte and Carl came down and we went out for a meal together. It was wonderful. Yeah, really good. And I'll show you a few clips of that when I'm finished waffling. All my customers have said the same. You picked the wrong week to go away. It's like somebody flicked a switch. If you've got vegetables or garden, you'll know this, that there is a week in the year. Sometimes it's early. Last year it was much earlier. This year it's been quite late. When the sun comes out, the ground starts to dry up, and spring and summer finally arrive. And it was the week we were away, and the plot went mad, absolutely mad. And it's lovely to see everything greening up and growing away. So I've had a busy few days because I had a week away. I have to catch up with work, so I wasn't able to get up here as much as I'd have liked. So it's great to have the day here. And I'm looking forward to getting stuck into a few jobs. There's good news and there's bad news, and I'll tell you more about that in a minute. But without further ado, let's have a look at a few clips of our week away. Welcome to the New Forest. Day after the coronation. It rained for 24 hours heavily, so we're expecting to get muddy. We did have some rain yesterday. Seen anywhere you like, Cheryl?
Plenty along this road.
Yeah, this'll do us. We're not fussy. Crikey, there's some money down this lane. Oh, New Forest living at its best. That'll do us. The village of Burley. Well, a different day, slightly different weather,
Much different.
but we're as keen as ever, aren't we, dear?
Of course we are. It's got Marmite on it as well.
An absolutely beautiful spot. Really sort of sums up New Forest. And this is a bank holiday Monday. Fantastic. Carpet of bluebells. The lime green of all these new deciduous leaves. Absolutely stunning.
One's coming towards us, Martin. Charging.
Don't you making me shake.
He's charging. He's heading straight for us. Think I'm joking, I'm not.
She's not.
Coming straight towards us.
Yep. Oh yeah, we're definitely being charged. Think you might be slightly overreacting. I'm not nervous yet.
Oh, he's stopped now. He's changed his mind.
The charge is complete. And back. Welcome to Exbury Gardens.
Please make notes.
Welcome to the National Trust property of Kingston Lacey. This is a massive pergola. They put 60 apple trees and 20 pear trees on it, and it goes for a long, long way. It'll be very impressive in about 10 years' time. Wow, their tomatoes are well ahead of mine.
They've got flowers on.
Crikey, yeah. That's impressive. Very well kept.
Yeah, they're all zinnias.
Alright. I need to up my game.
Why? Oh no, they've got some peppers there.
Time for lunch, I think.
Easy peasy. I was just going to say you're not videoing me, are you?
Wouldn't dream of it, dear. Well done.
Just going to outstare him.
Yeah, I think we should leave in case there is a young.
Last day at 59.
Joined today by daughter and son-in-law for a walk in beautiful weather on the heath. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, really good week away. But back to the plot. I had some really good birthday presents this year. I really struck lucky. Everyone was very kind to me. And it's always lovely to receive presents, isn't it? And when your family make an effort, it's really humbling and brings joy to your life. And some presents I can show you, some I can't. But I've received one from David, Nikki and Lexi. I'll put it in the way of the sun. This is going to be interesting. Me and tech. So we'll have a go with this later and I'll see how I get on. If I succeed, it'll be at the end of the video. I've no idea. Yeah, no idea. Anyway, sunrise is at 5:10 this morning, which puts a timestamp on what time it is right now. And it's fantastic. But I think what we should do is have a little walk around and I'll show you things that have been happening while I've been away. As is traditional, let's start at the bottom of the plot. So, you probably can't make much of that out, but those are the leeks that I've got in so far. Leek elephant. And they're doing all right. I think most of them have got away from the ground and are thickening up a little bit. I've got lots of tomatoes. Crikey, have I grown lots of tomatoes, and I'm struggling to find places to put them in. So you might see tomatoes around the edge of all sorts of beds and borders. This is an area for the pumpkins. And I've brought the pumpkin plants up with me today. They're in the van, and I'm going to have them on the plot for a week hardening off in the cold frame before they go in next weekend. Rhubarb needs a little bit of TLC, and that bed there is for butternuts. I've struggled to get butternuts to germinate this year, so I won't be growing as many as I usually do, but Cheryl assures me that's no bad thing, as we still have a freezer full. Right, these were kestrel, second early potatoes, and I planted 23 potatoes back in the spring, the 23rd of March actually, the notice says, and they didn't come up for a long time. I've got 11 of the 23 plants have now poked out the ground, and I've had a minimal go at earthing them up a bit. The ground's rock hard. It came up in big clods which would have damaged the plants, so I had to be careful. These two TP things are for the cucumbers, which again I brought up today, and I'll be hardening off for a week. The raspberries and the blackberries that I've planted there are doing okay. Slow but steady wins the race. And if I bring you around here, some more kestrels in pots, and here is an indicator of one of the gifts I received for my birthday, a whole load of metal colourful plant signs. I'm absolutely thrilled. It's a sort of present that shouldn't give you as much pleasure as it does, but I love them. I had a very happy 10 minutes walking around the plot sticking those in the ground, so thank you, Charlotte and Carl. But the carrots, some have been better than others, and I don't understand why, but you have to be happy with your lot, don't you? And I have to say, I'm very happy with the germination. Carrots can be notoriously fickle. These were the last ones sown, there, and this last one was parsnips. I have really struggled to get parsnips to germinate this year, and in fact I'm going to say I've failed, and I'll show you those in a minute up the other end. So, to the plot main. I have to say, this arch with the two roses on is absolutely stunning. That is it at its very best so far. Yeah, an absolute joy. So, onto the plot. Brussels sprouts went in this week. I'm trying a non-club root resistant variety this year. I've got the normal, I think it's Crispus, is it? Yeah, I think it's Crispus, the club root resistant Brussels sprout that I grow, but I'm also trying one there called Braemar. We shall see. So, a bed of Crimson Crush and Roma tomatoes. We shall see, they went in this week. Broad beans coming on a treat, as I'm pleased to report are the onions that I thought I'd lost in December. It would appear they're thickening up nicely. P. alderman is developing apace. I put another row in there, and there's another row growing in the greenhouse at home. These are potatoes called Estima, and they've almost all come up, almost. And then here, you'll remember I said I'm going to grow, or I'm going to plant one row every 3 weeks of my main crops. So this is a row of Sarpomera. They were planted on the 20th of April, and they're now showing their heads. And here's a row there. They were planted on the 17th of May, so they're yet to show their heads. And then I've got garlic, onions, asparagus, more of the asparagus later. Strawberries are flowering up, and in fact, if the slugs don't get them, it's all looking good. Let's cross over this way without breaking my neck. And the enviromesh beds are all brassicas. More onions, and then lots more brassicas. And then here's a good example of courgette green bush with its lovely little sign. The bottle's put in for watering, and it's developing beautifully. Oh, sunrise on the plot. It does produce a really wonderful kind of light. Sweet peas are doing okay. They're all sown the same time. Look at the difference in the two. That is odd. I mean, these other ones are coming on now, but yeah, strange. Right, this is the cut flower bed with a rogue potato, and I've planted a few more this week. We'll see, never done it before. The pond is looking superb. All sorts of colour. Again, the tadpoles, they're just not developing. There's a lot less in there now. Do they eat each other? I don't know. The bunting from the caravan when we went away is around the table. And on the table is all sorts of different zinnias and tithonias and pinks, all again to go in the pots and the cut flower bed. Some of the tulips from home have gone in there. Yeah, so it's all going apace. Celery, more of that later. Radish and a few spring onions, the perpetual spinach, and the blueberry is developing fruit beautifully. So that's as we stand right now. It's all systems go. These are the 4 parsnip tubs. That one's okay, but I really have struggled, as you will see from these all but empty 3 tubs. Yeah, real disaster. We love our parsnips. Now, I have resown 3 or 4 times, and all the seed has been fresh every time, so I may be lucky that, you know, in a week's time things start to stick their head up, but as it stands I have a very, very minimal crop of parsnips. Still, there's winners and losers every year. Well, it doesn't show up very clearly, but Bridget came over the other day and said, bad news, the site has asparagus beetle, and my asparagus is no different. Bit of a disaster. So today I've decided, I've had a cursory look online, and I'm going to spend an hour or so picking them off and looking for the eggs. I haven't seen any eggs yet, but if I've got adults, look at that, they keep moving around the back of the stem. They know I'm filming them. Anyway, yeah, asparagus beetle. Disaster. But I'm not cropping it this year, and hopefully next year when I do crop for the first time I'll be able to pick it before the asparagus beetle develops. I'm going to try and stay positive, folks. I have never had any luck growing celery on my plot. The main reason for that is the ground is so very heavy and claggy, and it is infested with slugs and snails. I've tried everything. I watch YouTube and I see the different varieties and ways of growing celery, and there's these long rows of beautiful, thick, crunchy celery growing in this wonderful fertile soil, and there's not a blemish on it. And I put my plants in here, and even if they've grown, and they have in the past, every single stalk is nibbled. And you know, nobody wants to eat food that's got holes in it from a slug. So I saw another video on YouTube, and I'm going to have another go. And this is what I'm going to do. And you know, plastic has become the big sin. Well, I don't go with that. I think plastic is fantastic. You know, my life has evolved and developed as plastic has, and it's been a real boon. And I think the main key thing to plastic is to keep reusing it and not use it once and chuck it away. So, with that in mind, here is what I'm trying this year. So this is the top end of a 1.5 or 2 litre plastic bottle, and in it, can you see that? Yeah, is a celery plant, and this top of the bottle is drilled with various holes, and of course that main hole, the spout here. So that's where the celery plant is going to grow. The bottom of the plastic bottle is filled with water. It's green because it's come out of my water butts. For no other reason, honestly. And so that is how I'm going to grow it. And the theory being, clearly I'm losing a little bit of soil out of the spout, but that will draw the water up. And as long as I keep that reservoir topped up, this will have a constant supply of moisture. They're bog plants, so they like heavy, thick, moist soil. And we'll see. The video I watched was an urban gardener. It might have been the Philippines or somewhere like that. And he had an incredible crop, rows and rows of these things. Well, I'm not going to grow rows and rows, but I am going to grow a few. I'm going to do a few more and then I'll show you. Well, that's the celery done. We'll see. You know, you've got to try these things and adapt to what conditions you've got. So I'm really excited to see how that succeeds or fails. We'll watch through the summer. Sorted, all loosened up, ready for raking up, and I need to earth them up in about a week, I guess. What a fantastic day. The weather has been superb. I even got my shirt off for a little while. Get a bit of vitamin D. Yeah, and I'm very happy with the way things are. I think it's true to say that every year my plot improves. I mean, it should do. And I know when I've gone away for a week at a time before, I've come back and there's been weeds and things. I get that feeling that it's getting away from me just in a week. But when I came back this time, that wasn't the case. A lot of things have grown, but because I've spent such a lot of time up here through the winter and the spring, through all that awful weather, hoeing, raking, you know, there weren't that many weeds to grow. So I haven't had that same feeling of it getting away from me that I have had in previous years, which is good. So, you know, every year I discover a new problem. A couple of years ago it was clubroot, and this year it's asparagus beetle. I didn't even know there was such a thing until Bridget came over 2 days ago, and I, you know, watched a lot of stuff online, and there are chemicals you can use, but this is an organic site. You know, I don't want food that's got pesticides and herbicides on it. That's why we grow our own, because we don't want that, you know, pollution on our food. So I've had about 3 or 4 stints with my glasses on, trying to find the beetles, and they stand out quite well. And I've discovered they do the same as the lily beetle. When they feel the plant move, they drop onto the ground, and then you can't see them. So I've got the hang now after today of putting my hand under the frond, and then as I go to pick it off, if I don't get it first time and it drops into my hand, and their history. And the eggs are the tiniest little black spots that stand proud of the stem, usually in little clusters of about a dozen. And I've got my eye in, and I've been finding those. And of course I'm spending a lot of time picking these things off, but if other people on the plot aren't as conscientious, these beetles fly. That's how they get here, and so they'll just fly across. So this will be something I shall have to do throughout the year, periodically. But you know, if something's worth doing, then it's probably difficult. If it's not difficult, it's not worth doing. So I'm learning as I go along. But yeah, everything looks great. I'm very happy with how it is, and I've managed to find a space for every single tomato plant. In fact, by next time I must try and work out how many I must count how many tomato plants I've planted this year. It's quite a few. Anyway, thanks for hanging around and waiting 3 weeks for my next video. Thanks for subscribing if you have, and please give me a thumbs up and leave a comment. It does help the channel, apparently. And I will see you next week. This week, the significant thing in my life is our eldest son David, his partner Nikki, and their daughter Lexi returned to Canada after a couple of years. And I've got to take them to the airport Tuesday, and we'll miss them, but hopefully they'll be back in a couple of years. We'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you next week. Until then, look after yourselves. Take care. Bye for now.